We have a special treat for you tonight. And we're telling everybody that you came out so you could see the corral.
You go.
We're gonna go over there to see your face. Yeah. We can get off.
Okay, thank you.
So hi everyone, my name is Keith Lamar. I'm the North Choir Director. This is the North Chorale, and a bunch of years ago, I started, we asked if we can come down and just spread some holiday this year. So we're gonna sing 2 songs for you tonight. And then if you like what you hear, what to do. We have our concert is on Wednesday night and with all of our groups. So this is just a little taste. So you get really excited to want to drive up through the snowy Bushkill area and see us and start with your holiday season. So. Shepherds, why this shoe? Shepherds are the John streets alone. Say Lord, make us eyes the heavenly song. Say Lord, I just want to sing to you as a in a times version of Carol of the Bells.
Helping someone love all seem to say, throw fears away. Christmas is here, bringing a cheer to young and old. He got me gone, that is a song, get my glory. All there.
Okay, if you're interested, 7 o'clock, Wednesday night.
I know, right? That's it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Rosato, roll call, please.
Okay. George Andrews,
George?
George Andrews,
Present.
Rebecca Bear,
Present.
Ann Cotrillo,
Present.
Mike Cotrillo,
Present.
Jason Goldstrand,
Present.
Steve Market absent, Debbie Kulik.
Present.
Here, okay,
Present. Present. He is present.
okay, got you. Debbie Kulik,
Present.
Rich Lamus,
Present.
Janika Story,
Present.
9 present.
Thank you. And we welcome all of our guests. We'd asked if you haven't done so, at some point, there's a paper outside to sign, just so we have a record of who has attended the meeting. Thank you. An executive session was held on December 1st, 2025 for the purpose of discussing personnel, and an executive session was held this evening before this meeting for the purpose of discussing personnel, litigation, and negotiations. Now we need a motion to adopt this agenda for December 15th, 2025, as submitted with the Board of Education reserving the right to add to the agenda and take further action on any items raised in executive session where immediate action on such items is considered to be in the best interest of the district.
So moved. Second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion to approve the minutes of the November 17th, 2025 meeting.
So moved. Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Great. And now we move on to our reports. For anyone here to give input, if you've never been to a board meeting, just so you know, we have reports and some presentations. And then before we go to our voting on our agenda items, there will be time for public input. So it's kind of in the middle there. So we have some excellent reports, and our favorite reports come from our students. So I'll turn it over to our two high school North students.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hope everyone's doing well, and know we all enjoyed that nice corral, North Corral, one of my favorite people there, so.
North? Maybe north?
So Lawrence, we have a minute. Anything interesting happened to you recently?
Yes,
What happened to you, sir?
on Friday, I did get, accepted into Stanford University.
Stanford.
That's
Congratulations. We're still looking for north.
What will you be studying?
I'm going for human biology and neuroscience. With a goal of being a doctor, so.
nice. So
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. There we go.
This is our December highlights. So we didn't have much in academics, so we're just gonna start with arts this month. On December 7th, many of the members of the North Band participated in the PMEA District 10 auditions. We were lucky to have 2 members make it, so I'd like to congratulate Nina Unuzzi and Joseph Kennedy on making the District 10 band. The festival will be held at Twin Valley High School in February, the very start of February. Then recently, just this last Thursday, we had our annual winter band concert. The participating groups were the symphonic band, the jazz band, and the brass quintet. Overall, I think it was an amazing performance. It was some of the best we put on this year, and I'm really excited to see where we can go with the spring and the department concert. Then, as we see, just recently, the North Corral has been spreading a lot of Christmas cheer. On December 3rd, they were at the Lehigh Valley Pocono Medical Center to help celebrate the tree lighting ceremony. I think it's great to be going around and spreading Christmas cheer and holiday cheer. I always think this time of year is really uplifting, and I think it's great to see our students getting involved in spreading that cheer. Then on December 13th, the North Corral participated with 4 other local high schools at the St. Matthews Annual Holiday High School Choir Showcase. This festival is just another way that we can spread Christmas cheer and we can celebrate the arts in schools. And the performance ended with a combined performance from all 5 high schools together. Then, as Mr. Labar mentioned, this Wednesday, we will be having our annual winter choir concert. You'll be able to hear from groups like the mixed choir, the treble choir, and the chorale like you just heard. The concert starts at 7 p.m. in the North Auditorium, if anyone would like to come. I definitely recommend. I think it's going to be a good concert. I'm pretty excited. And lastly, but certainly not least, on Friday, our chorale will be going on the POCO 103's morning radio show with Gary C., which I think will be a great idea. Just spreading more Christmas cheer again, really making it worth the holidays, and hopefully spreading a lot of cheer, making people really excited for the holidays. And then they're going to travel to the Lehigh Valley Pocono Hospital to, again, spread more cheer and just uplift a lot of the people around. Recently, we had groups from the Fine Arts 3 and Fine Arts 4 submit entries for the VIP Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month art competition. This will be showcased in February. This competition's around supporting people who may experience violence through teen dating or anything like that. And in February, I think our winners should be announced. So wish them luck. And I turn now to Lawrence for athletics.
And before I go on to this, I know she's watching, and so I just wanted to welcome back in our school, a very important person in our school, our librarian, Miss Stroth. She's my coach, mentor, everything of that, and she was on maternity leave for a while, so we do want to welcome her back for coming back, and so she's a very important part of our everyday in school, and so I do want to welcome her back. And so now we can go into athletics. So, as many of you guys know, Mr. Lenhart organized the Wizards basketball game, which I couldn't personally attend myself since I was in practice during the time. But I saw so many parents and so many students and younger children come with their brothers, sisters, and it was honestly a great time. It seemed like a lot of people were having fun, and so I'm glad that we were able to do it. I really am. I think that it was just another thing to bring people up to North, which doesn't happen so often. But I think when it does, it truly shows people what North really is, and I think it was a great event. Our indoor track team. The indoor track team season, we kicked it off and we already have seen two new school records set by Kendrick Simpson in both the 55-meter dash and the 200-meter. And the 4x4 team, led by Kendrick Simpson again and closed out by Gustavo Mora, has already posted 2 first-place finishes in the opening 2 meets of the season at the Warrior Warm-Up, which was held at ESU. And just so people can get the gravity of being able to place top of these and setting school records as well. These events are invitationals, so there's up to 35 and and the bigger scales up to 65 schools coming to this. And so for North to represent the East Stroudsburg school district at East Stroudsburg University, I think it was a great event. And it was honestly awesome to watch. I was there, and so it was an amazing time. And also we have Hermari Davis, who placed 3rd in the 55 as well. And the next meet will be held at January 3rd, again at ESU. And so, we will keep you guys posted on that. Secondly, we have swim. The swim team has just started their competitive season. And we have some individual wins and personal records, which we love to see. And we wish them luck in the weeks to come. And I think their next meet is coming soon, I believe this week. So we wish them luck. Some extracurriculars. Spirit Week. Today marks the first day of Spirit Week before winter break. Today was onesie day and pajama day. With the 2-hour delay, got a little messed up, and so some people kind of forgot, or some people came in pajamas anyways because they woke up like that. And so it was fun. And on the side there, I asked my friend Hugo. He is the SGA president who involves Spirit Week for thing and has to do with the Student Government Association. And this was his snowman. And so I thought it was fitting to put on there for Spirit Week right before winter break. And then finally, we were able to talk with the yearbook committee, and we are going to include senior baby photos and senior quotes for our yearbook, and we're very excited. And up here are some actual pictures. You can see in the left corner, that's me eating a cupcake there. On the right bottom corner, you can see that's Dylan there. And then, in fact, a lot of the people that just came up for Corral are also in there. So it was just a nice little funny thing I wanted to throw together. I literally texted them last night, hey, send me a baby photo right now. And so that's what is up there. Just, I don't know, just a little joy. So, sometimes we don't have too much of that in these cold weather, stuff like that. And so I do think it's a little uplifting. And that is all. And thank you for your time and happy holidays. I wish you guys all great holidays, and for this break that's coming up soon, which is to be a nice long break.
We didn't announce where Dylan's going because we're still not sure, right? So we didn't leave you out. We're just still waiting.
And thank you, Lawrence and Dylan. That's excellent as always. And representing South, Marion Ellis.
All right, good evening, everyone. These are South's highlights. First up, we have teacher recognition. Congrats to our November Teachers of the Month, Mrs. Campagna and Mr. Dobrowski, and our December Teachers of the Month, Mr. Strain and Ms. Torres. We're proud to recognize these inspiring student-centered educators for their exceptional work that they do each day. We thank these teachers for their commitment, positivity, and their meaningful impact that they make in our school community.
Next up, we have our stars in the class. So students in Mr. Dolph and Mrs. Radulowski's art classes submitted 9 different art pieces to the Juliana N. Wine Bold MLK Art Show at ESU. On the left, we have Justin Acosta Hernandez, who won an honorable mention for his piece. And on the right, we have Vanessa Mira, who won 2nd place overall. All 9 pieces will be displayed with artwork from other schools in the area at ESU, January 19th at 10 a.m. in the morning. These students did an amazing job and we're proud of them. We also have students who have their work on display at the Cure Cafe and Emmy's Eatery across the street. The honors seminar class sponsored a food drive for our own Purple Pantry. This was very successful with the Cavalier community donating a large amount of canned and dry food. This drive allowed us to help students and their families through the holiday season. The future educator cohort placements are now in full swing. After completing the district kickoff campus visit to ESU to learn about current topics in the field, the cohort has moved into the high school placement phase. On December 9th, the high school North students visited our school and were placed into classrooms where teachers fielded questions and provided a look into classroom experiences. Our students from South will visit North on December 16th. We are grateful for these opportunities and value the collaborative work with our district team of administrators, teachers, and staff across the buildings. Next up, we have school spirit. This week, we also have our spirit week. I'll go to the next one. Mr. Healy's class, they do multicultural stuff, and this week they worked together to put together our spirit week. Today was pajama day. You see my friend David in the middle dressed as, well, in his PJs. His class also has been working hard to help other people in need, such as on the picture on the right, they collected jackets for their jacket drive. Tuesday through Thursday, they're doing corn wars, and let's see. Oh, right. So yeah, they're doing a whole bunch of stuff this week, including our calf bash. But Mr. Healy's class is putting together a whole bunch of stuff this week. Friday, we're also working with them for the pep rally, and that's our students versus staff basketball game. All the money will be going to the Olsen Christmas Wish Foundation, and it's just a really good cause that we raise money for. And it's fun to see teachers versus students play basketball. So the calf bash is something that Ms. Hofstadter's class is doing, her small business class, which I'm a part of. This was an idea to bring back something to the school community, and students entered through the PBIS system. They entered a raffle and they were selected, and on Wednesday, they will play games and enjoy hot cocoa in the hallway of our gym lobby. And this is a good opportunity to raise school spirit before break. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. A lot of exciting things happening. And now, Caitlin representing MCTI.
Good evening, school board members, administration, and guests. Before I begin, I would like to welcome the new school board member. My name is Caitlin Olata Mora, and I am the Skills USA Ambassador from MCTI. On November 19th through the 21st, I attended the Skills USA Ambassador Training and Professional Development Conference at Camelback. During this event, students attended leadership workshops, which included money management, dress for success, dining etiquette, job interview skills, and networking. MCTI had 5 ambassadors and 21 delegates attend the conference. Skills USA conducted their annual canned food drive. MCTI students donated over 2,700 canned goods to PVNN. Auto Technology donated a total of 1,561 cans and won the competition. HOSA students held a blood drive on Friday, December 5th and collected 27 units of blood and that could potentially save up to 81 lives. On Saturday, December 13th, MCTI, Skills USA, and DECA students assisted with the Toys for Tots toy sort. On Tuesday, December 16th, 34 DECA members will be competing in District 7 competitions held at Lehigh Carbon Community College. FFA students will be headed to the PA Farm Show in January and will be entering several horticulture competitions. They will also be participating in the PA FFA Winter Convention while they're there. On behalf of all the students at MCTI, I would like to wish you all happy holidays and a happy New Year's. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and a thank you to all of our students, and you always keep us grounded in why we all do this, so thank you so much. Okay, we'll move over to Natalie.
Okay, I would like to invite Chris and Aaron up for the presentation, I think, that has packed our house tonight.
Hello, everybody, and good evening. Thank you for having us back here. Again, my name is Chris Linke. This is Aaron Hoffman from RLPS Architects. So. One second.
Do you have any jokes, Mr.
I'm jokeless tonight.
I find that hard to believe.
I know. It's been a long week.
It is Monday.
It is only Monday.
That's why.
When you're retired, every day is.
Every day is Monday.
Today's Saturday.
Okay, we're back up. So again, thank you for having us here. Just a little overview for tonight. But we were here a month ago, and at that point, we did an overview of some building observations and our evaluation of your buildings. We also looked at the building metrics and your building capacity, and we did an overview of the surveys at that point. Some of the high flyers for that survey was equity in your buildings, being cost conscious, quality programs, and safety is always a big concern. So tonight we're here to talk about options. We're going to talk a little bit about our process for some of our priorities to develop the options. So overall, our schedule, again, we started in June. We're hoping to finish up towards the end of February. We're here to talk about options tonight. We have a town hall meeting on January 10th. That's a Saturday. I think it's at JT Lambert at 10 a.m. in the morning. So we are going to review these options with the public at that time and take questions and answers. And then the earliest we'll be back probably is in late February, depending on what happens with surveys and additional input that we receive until then. So talking about how we organize our priorities. First, we have a lot of engagement to get to this point. We walked through all of your buildings. We had sit-down meetings at all your buildings. It's us and our mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers to receive a lot of input. At the same time, we've also had the survey that went out, and we've had steering committee meetings since June, almost monthly to this point. So there are a lot of goals and priorities, and we use something called the Moscow system. As we said before, we know that's not a very popular name, but it's a must-have, should have, could have, and won't have. So we take the high flyers from all the information that we gather and organize them into different categories. So on the must-have, we came into this knowing we needed to align the elementary grades with the high school boundaries. So Middle Smithfield and Resica, that didn't have students coming together and then going to separate high schools. So that was a no-brainer. Also, from what we had talked about when we were here last month is of all your buildings, JM Hill needs the most work, both physically and educationally. So what are we doing with that? Then there was a number of safety issues that we wanted to address and being fiscally responsible, whatever option that we submit here. So we move on to the next one, the should have. These are, the really good ideas that we want to try to incorporate in somewhere in our options. The first one has to do with building capacity and getting that capacity to work evenly across all of your elementary schools specifically. But after that, then the rest of those under that category is really about quality programs, the things that we want to address with programs coming up and where we're going in the future with the school district. The could have category, when you think back at a feasibility study, now is when you want to look at it holistically and come up with as many different options to address as you can. You may not like all the options we consider, but you need to consider it now that it's a paper exercise before you go on from here, because this study could set the district in a direction for 10, 20 years into the future. So you want to be holistic in your thinking. And then the last one, you won't have, we don't have any of those yet because it's almost the opposite of must have. So it depends where you put them. But we take all of these options, I mean, these priorities, and we'll also include this in a priority matrix. So when you get to the end of the options, you have something to start grading how well did these options do through this information that we set off in the beginning. So I am going to turn this over to Aaron now to walk through our 5 different options.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing us the time to go through this. We'll go into a lot of detail, I'm sure, and please interrupt as we go along. I'd like to have some dialogue back and forth and hear any questions that you have. So please stop me in the middle if you need to. Tonight, we're bringing 5 options to you. You'll see them listed on the screen. We'll go into a little bit of detail on each one, but really to give you a little bit of parameters on this, option A is really always the baseline. We always want to start with where are you now? What if we didn't change anything? What are the impacts, positive and negative on that? So A will always be maintain the district as it is now and look for preventative maintenance. B starts to look at redistricting. As Chris had mentioned, you have 2 elementary schools that split on your high school levels. And so what can we do to look at those opportunities to right that direction of the high schools? Option C starts to look at not only the locations and realigning those elementaries, but right sizing the buildings as well and looking at your capacities of those elementary schools. Option D starts to get outside of the box and really looking at what are our opportunities in the buildings and what can we do to realign grades to maximize capacities in the buildings. And then E looks at another option of grading and creating a 9th grade academy at the high school level. So as I said, option A really maintains that status quo. This is really if nothing would change in the district, what are the opportunities and options moving forward? This really addresses your preventative maintenance pieces. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a descriptor because this is on each option. So you'll be able to follow the path of each component. On the left-hand side, you will see it's always the secondary schools or the secondary grades, depending on what we're looking at. On the bottom right is always the elementary schools. So inside that green box gives you the elementary schools. And you'll see numbers in there, and that's your capacity or your enrollment for that building compared to what is available in that building. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the enrollment. We always start with the enrollment as October of 25-26 because we need a point to start from. So October is usually a good month to start from. So you'll see that enrollment is the same for each option. The second component in that line under planned capacity has to do with the building and PlanCon, which is Department of Education, and how they classify capacity of buildings. So you'll see that number, which relates to each building. 80% utilization of capacity really is how do you use your buildings? PDE's numbers are usually higher than what you would typically do in a building. So we have used 80% of that capacity to right-size your schools. The next number, the 80% utilization, is basically taking your enrollment numbers and applying it to that 80%. So how much extra space or not extra space do you have in the building? So then you'll be able to compare those numbers and really see what the difference is between those two. And then under that, we break that holistic number down into elementary, intermediate, and high school. So you're able to see where the bigger capacity numbers are. Does that make sense to everyone? Anyone have any questions on that? Okay, great.
I just have one question. Your numbers for the elementary schools, the left number is the current enrollment, and the right number is the capacity, the FTE?
That's correct. So that's absolutely it. So when you're looking, it is how you're distributed right now. We'll use Bushkill as an example, and it's 353 students currently enrolled, but you could really fit 520 students in that school.
And the numbers, you verified the numbers with the Plan Con process, correct?
We did, and I went back and looked, and I think you were specifically asking about Middle Smithfield, and we pulled that from the Plan Com Part A, and it was 935 students.
And East Stroudsburg was 1,000 also.
East Stroudsburg was it was shy of 1,000 students, yes.
So then why are we showing that as 660 though?
Because that's 80% of the capacity.
Oh, we're using 80% on those. That's 80% of that
Correct.
number.
It is,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you for the okay, thank you. That's all you need to know.
Clark, if you think of kind of how we use classrooms, if we have
Correct.
an autistic support classroom, we're not getting 22 students in there, we're getting 8. So you never do the full 100%. Because
Okay.
you'd be too tight to run programs.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good questions.
One thing I do want to point out, just in the elementary specifically, they're fairly even, but your smallest capacity is currently JM Hill, which is 476 students, and your largest capacity is Middle Smithfield at 780 students. So there is a little bit of a dichotomy between the size of your elementary schools. Option B looks at adding on to option A, which is redistricting at the elementary school. So as Chris had mentioned, realigning the elementaries for Middle Smithfield and Resica. The grade configuration in this option still stays the same as the K-5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12. But again, this looks at realigning the grades. And then the other opportunity is addressing JM Hill in this option. Is it a rebuild? Is it a renovate? And how do we accommodate those students?
When you talk about the rebuild, renovate of JM Hill, what type of things does JM Hill need that other schools may not right now? Which would, be very, I guess it's expensive. I don't know, just enlighten me on what that is that we see that JM Hill needs versus a Resica or a Bushkill or a Smithfield.
So part of that, with those other buildings, we did our evaluation, first of all, just going in and mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems that are in those buildings, upgrading them, that would be the base that we would go in there. The roofing system, windows, all of that needs to be upgraded, because when you leave that building, you're trying to set that up for the next 20, 25 years.
And when was the last time any of these renovations or repairs have been executed on JM Hill?
It was 94, I believe. So it's a little over 30 years ago. So when you talk about a building project, 20 to 25 years is really where you want to be when you come back and revisit them. And this building is beyond that right now.
We're a little late.
And then there's the educational component. You have spaces in basement without windows, things like that, that to be equal to the quality of educational spaces you have in your other buildings that you'd really want to address.
And if we were to do the renovation stuff, would that be like a bond or something like that? Or how would the district propose to pay for something like that? Like, would that be like a,
Typically, you'd probably go into a bond situation, something like that.
or go out? Okay.
So again, with option B, looking at JM Hill as the renovation or rebuild, assuming this about the same capacity, you'll see the numbers are the same for capacity in the school and attendance for in the schools. But really looking at Smithfield and Resica Elementary School as realigning to make sure that they follow the south and the north high school boundary lines.
But if we realign 2 schools, it would really impact all 6 because
That's
we'd be
correct.
shifting boundaries of all 6 elementary schools to right size.
That's correct. Absolutely. So if you look under the green section, you'll see each one of the elementary schools says realign boundaries. So to make sure that we're right sizing the buildings, we would realign all of the elementaries. Thank you.
Would that be over here? Would that be something that you would say would be phased in so that you would not disrupt the current,
So one of the things, that's a great question. One of the things that we look at when we know that there's a building that needs renovated or rebuilt, it will be part of that phasing challenge. So students the best opportunity is to try and get students out of JM Hill to renovate or build so that you can move them back in after it's clean and they're not living through construction. So you could phase your elementaries.
What
over
about your realignment?
You could do that at any opportunity. Because if you
So you would
see in,
disrupt what a student already has as their base? In other words, you're going to take someone who's been in third grade and move them to somewhere else when that was not the purpose?
I don't think you would do it in the middle of a school year. You would do it over the summertime. Is that the question? Is you wouldn't do it necessarily during the school
I
year.
guess what she's saying, if I started at, let's say, Resica, and we redistricts, and my kids have been going there through fourth grade, when they go into fifth grade, their final year, you're gonna say, I'm sorry, you're going to go to Middle Smithfield now. And you're gonna leave all your friends that you made at Resica and
Right,
go to Middle Smithfield.
that's a very
You phase it in
disruptive
and say,
thing.
if you're in this grade, say you're in fourth grade, we'll let you finish at this school. But if you're in second, then you have to move. Like, how
Sure.
do we propose
Can
doing
I just,
something like
I
that?
think those decisions, and correct me if I'm wrong, would
But-
be a board decision. You're asking, like, you would not be telling us that.
That's
We would be doing that internally, so we would all have voice into how that would happen. That would not be something that would be imposed on us.
That's absolutely correct.
That was my question was,
So that
Are
would
you
be something we
recommending-
would handle,
okay.
obviously with input from people, because you're correct, there would be a lot of pieces to that.
Right,
But that would not be something that would
but I
become,
hear that as concerns that parents may
Oh,
have. So I wanna
absolutely,
make sure we
there.
address it, that how it's going to move forward in the
Yeah.
future, so
Mhm.
everybody's on the same page.
Hence my question.
yeah, excellent, no, good point. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. So option C starts to look at right sizing capacities because if you have noticed of the last two options, there was a significant capacity differential in the elementaries. You had an additional 900 plus student availability in the elementary schools. So we looked at what are the options and opportunities to realign your elementary schools to maintain 5 schools to better utilize that capacity that you have available in the district. This again keeps the same grade alignment, your K5, 6, 8, 9, 12, but really looks at the option of taking your oldest building or the one that needs the most work, JM Hill, out of the mix and looking at your 5 elementary schools that are remaining. So option C, you'll see that the capacity of the buildings has gone down because we've taken one off. However, you still have 466 available capacity enrollment in the elementary schools of the 5 remaining elementary schools. You can see again that the students are realigned with those boundaries and able to be sent to their sending high schools, the South or the North High School. Again, secondary grades would stay the same in this option.
Which schools would be separated by north, south?
It-
You're not looking at that.
We haven't gotten that
Okay.
far.
Correct.
So that's really part of our exploration,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
you guys are asking really great questions. We're coming to you with 5 options. We would like you around March to pare down to 2, and then we will spend some time investigating all of these questions. So these are high level options, and then we don't have specifics because we would have to we didn't chase down all the kind of impacts of each of the 5 options.
I do have another question.
I do.
Did you take into account when you're talking about utilization, et cetera, projections for real estate? From the real estate side?
So you had enrollment information that was shared with us and we used that. And your historical data has either been stagnant or has been declining. Most of it has been stagnant just because you have a fluctuation of in and out from the district. But over the past 10 years, your enrollment has been declining.
I would think maybe we should look collectively at what real estate projections are, just having
It
had
was my
some earlier
understanding, you were reaching out to
conversation.
townships about projects, that was part of this process as well.
Yeah, that was part of the follow-up from your historical data
Correct.
that you can
Yep.
see.
So they investigated it as well.
I think they're behind me.
Okay. So you believe it's not accurate?
I believe that there's gonna be a shift.
I just have a quick question also. When you said that the 80% utilization cap or capacity, let's just say for East Stroudsburg Elementary Center was at 660. Are you suggesting at 80%? Can you go above the 80%? Do you suggest staying at 80% of the utilization capacity?
So 80% is a good number to target. It really depends on your special education, special programs, how you're distributing throughout the district, what you're going to do with your curriculum or your programming. Are you going to enhance or add to? That was a big component of the community survey, was making sure that the programs were provided for students. So if you're planning on expanding your programs, I would definitely not go above that 80%, just to give you that opportunity to be able to expand your curriculum.
So the recommendation is stay within the buffer of the 80%.
That's correct.
Try not to expand past that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So option D starts to look at realigning the district, looking at your grade configuration, looking at the opportunities of your primary and intermediates and the high school level. We look at it as a district, as a holistic approach, not just the north and the south. We really look at what district-wide means. This gives you an opportunity to look at that magnet school option. And so we really look at 5 elementaries again, but would be grades K through 4. We're looking at 1 intermediate, which would be grades 5 through 8, and then 2 high schools, which would be 9 through 12. However, when we get into the detail on this one, you will see that the high schools are now South High School and JT Lambert. We're able to get all of the 9 through 12 students in those schools. We look at the option and opportunity of JT Lambert becoming maybe a magnet or an academy school. And this is something, again, that could be phased in over time, but you're able to put all of your 9th through 12th graders in those 2 buildings and tailor your program and curriculum to that 9th grade through 12th grade for an academy.
It looks like though, when you do the intermediate 5 through 8, that they're over the 80% numbers. I see 1,045 versus 1,040 and 767 versus 720.
That's a great point, and you just went right into my next point. So when you look at capacities, they're very different for a secondary school as opposed to a primary school. You are afforded more capacity in an elementary because they aren't in the robust programs and curriculum. So there's different drivers for a secondary. So while we kept the numbers the same for a high school setting, in reality, you have more capacity when it's elementary students. So when you're in a 5, 6, 7, 8, you're able to accommodate more students. They don't have all of the tech ed. They don't have all the science labs. They don't need all of the specialized spaces. So you're able to take the capacity of those spaces and use them for elementary. So while it shows that there's a deficit, in reality, there is capacity in that building because elementaries are run different than high schools. Does that answer your question?
I think so. And those connect, so it would almost be like one intermediate school since it's truly one building. Versus,
Absolutely.
you know, JTL and South being 2 separate.
That's correct.
So it would be just intermediate school of East Stroudsburg, whatever the heck we want to call it.
Yes,
They're
absolutely.
connected.
It's the building is interesting because you still could really set up a 5, 6 and a 7, 8, but all under one roof.
Okay.
Mhm.
And when you're talking JTL as this, is that including the Isaka building in the back as part of JTL, or that still remain Isaka?
So that would stay as your academy, your cyber, that's the word. I drew a blank on that word. Thank you. Cyber Academy, that would stay separate. So that's not part of this capacity.
Okay, and then I want to clarify these numbers again. The right number in the elementary school is the capacity. So when you're saying the capacity, the minus the 80%, 80%, even when I go back, I was looking back at one of the previous things you said. 80% of 1,000 is 800. I'm still confused about this capacity because I was on the board when we designed both of these schools. When we redesigned these schools, when we built ESE, we built it for 1,000 students. That was what we were told we were building it for. That's what we built it as. And you're saying we did not build it as that.
That's correct. From the Plan Con approved Part A, I know that Middle Smithfield was designed as 935 students.
And ESE was also designed for 1,000 students, close to 1,000
I
students.
believe that one was below 900, if I remember correctly. I apologize. I wrote the
Okay.
Middle Smithfield down and did not write East Stroudsburg, but Middle Smithfield was 935.
And I don't know if I'm jumping ahead or jumping behind here with this question. When you're referencing JM Hill as a building that is in great need of repair, I remember years ago we did replace all the windows at JM Hill within the last 10 years or so. Did you see that done anywhere in the projection in the project for our school, for that school?
We would go back and look at the evaluation, just to double check that.
Because one of the things that's worrying me is we're labeling JM Hill as a troubled school. It is our oldest building, correct? But a lot of work was put into that school over the years to keep it up. I mean, we refinished all the floors. We refinished all the classrooms. We refinished we redid a lot of work went into that school. And just because it's not our newest building doesn't make it our problem building. I am totally against having any classes in the basement, and that is a concern, has always been a concern over the last 20 years. But overall, that building, I don't think it's falling apart. You're presenting it as it's falling apart.
Well, it was just going back to that evaluation that we reviewed through last time, and it was the lowest grade of all of your elementary buildings.
Of course. Well, when you're
Right, I
dealing
think,
when
Keith,
you're
we're
comparing
dealing
a
with
building
factual
of-
information here. We're not, and I don't think I heard at all from this presentation that JM Hill's falling apart.
I think
just certainly
I think
we're
they said
listening
something
to
about that,
facts
Mike.
here.
I think they said
We're-
something like that, Mike.
I would just be careful of the word selection because no one here has stated JM Hill's falling apart.
They said it was in the poorest condition. I think they referenced
Well,
it
and that's
as.
factual information.
And
That's
poor
not-
condition means it's
saying that it's falling
okay.
apart becomes quite
Okay,
a
Mike. I guess
valuable.
my interpretation is different than yours. Then,
I
I
guess
guess.
My question is, you got the two intermediate schools, 5 to 8 are High School North and Lehman?
Yes,
They're both at the same campus.
Yes, that's
correct,
Okay,
correct.
so
So-
everybody would go for the whole school, for the whole
They'd be together.
repository, everybody would go up north.
That's correct. Yes.
That sounds like a nightmare.
So,
I was gonna say that, George. We'll put you on the bus.
I just want to double check this. You're saying, and you brought up the number, for Lehman Intermediate being at 720 capacity. If we move both intermediate schools to that location, I feel like we'd be right at, if not above, the 80% utilization. And then I think and see if I have this correct, with D, we would still be taking our students 5 through 8, and then after 8th grade, we would split them between two high schools?
So that's one of the options and opportunities that the district would like to look at, and it's something that you can discuss as a board as well. It gives you the option to do academies or a magnet school. So all of your 9th through 12th graders would either attend South or maybe a magnet school at JT Lambert. So that gives them the opportunities to expand the programs and the curriculum to be specific to certain pathways or tracks.
So we're saying then that, say, 20% of the students choose the magnet school route. We're saying that the remaining number of students that we have would fit within our 80% capacity of South? Your numbers don't say that, though. That's what I'm just trying to figure out. If our capacity for South is 1,400 and we've got 2,200 students.
So you would, it gives you that opportunity that if you have a magnet program, for example, if you do medical or biology, thank you for that option
Right.
tonight. You could have a medical-based pathway located at JT Lambert. That could be all of the 9th through 12th graders who are interested in going into a medical field.
So we're assuming that we're looking, so we need to make the assumption when we go with D for realignment, that we're gonna have a minimum of like 500 to 600 students who would want to go to a magnet school at the intermediate school, so we don't go over our 80% utilization capacity for South.
That's correct.
And
So-
choose not to play a sport because then it have to be bused back and forth.
No, that's not true.
No, you'd
So
still
it
be
would
able
be,
to.
there would be one AUN number. It
Okay.
would just be the programming. So
Okay.
it would be one actual high school. And I just want to remind the board, when I came on and I met with each individual, almost every board member said you wanted to explore magnet high school and academies.
Correct.
So that is one of the reasons the feasibility study was done of what a magnet school would look like.
And the other thing I just wanted to address too is I know George said it'd be a nightmare to go to North, but think about the North students that have to go to South too. It's just as much of a long bus ride for them, so
Oh,
George,
yeah.
it's not just about everybody from South going up to North, it's the people from North going to South. We need to think about all of our students, not just the ones that are down here. And I just want to address that too, because my kids graduated from North. And I know your students go to North. It's not just about the bus ride. To me, it's about what's best for our students and where we're gonna get the best education and what's gonna give my child and your children the opportunity to succeed and be productive members of our community and make our community better. So I want to make sure we're thinking about that as a whole when we think about, you know, an intermediate school at North. If that's what's best for my student and your students, and we're gonna make our district the best district in Pennsylvania, we need to look at that as a whole. And I'm trying to keep a very open mind about this, but there's a lot of things that confuse me, and I'm glad we're having this discussion and we're, discussing it because it's important. Our children are our future. It's not me. I'm getting old, I'm gonna retire in 10 years, so it's not about that. It's about me thinking about what's best for not just my student that's now, but the next generations to come. And are we as a district preparing them?
Right, and
So-
Rebecca, I think your point is excellent. I mean, and just for the public too, remember, we're talking here, we have our dreaming hat on. We know education in the next 10 to 15 years, it's gonna look very different for everybody. And while we have this opportunity, and as you said, we're looking ahead, decisions we make affect 10, 20 years down the road. We want to have everything out there. And while some may sound, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. They're going to be looked at and talked through. And, again, I don't like the word when I hear nightmare. We would never create a nightmare for anybody. It would be well thought out, well planned, well thought out and organized. But I think this is the time to think about it. If you notice we have options that say, we're staying the same, we're making a minor correction. But we also want to say, well, what if, like some schools that have very successful programs, we have a magnet school in the area. It may not be medical if it's not what we think.
Could be
It could be music. It could be whatever this community feels we need a magnet school in to support our students. This is the time to think about it. Because if we don't do it now, we don't think about it at least now, it's not going to happen in 20 years. And so I just want to ground everybody that yes, some of these are, when you first look at them, you kind of like, as we all are doing. And I agree with you, George, going, oh my God, transferring these people. But we're in the dreaming stage now. And we want to hear each one of these options because they're going to offer us a chance to dream and say, well, maybe. But if the community says, no, we want to keep traditional and not change. Well, then that's in here too. So I just want to let everybody know, we're not like flying off the wall here. We're looking at everything, but I think we'd be really not doing anybody any service and being irresponsible if we didn't take some of those dreaming moments and look at that. I mean, look at our North High School. It's a great place. We see it. We saw the kids here. But when you have 800 kids and you're trying to have a football team or basketball team or a band, or field hockey, which they don't have enough students to even have. Well, we could keep things the way they are and never change them. But we also have to look and say, wow, imagine what if we could figure out a way to combine. And, if we've come to that time, what a dynamic sports music program we would have. And then also have the possibility of a magnet school and something our community feels is important. So just want everybody to keep, and we are, and Rebecca said it, I'm not saying no, anyone here is not, but let's keep that open mind and dream a little. And yeah, we're gonna hear from everybody. We have to hear from everybody. I wouldn't make this decision alone. None of us here want to do that, trust me, when I tell you. So we are beginning, this is night one of a process. So we want to hear all that, and then we're gonna want to hear from everybody, and then we're gonna weigh all those options and keep talking with you. No one on this board, and I know these people sitting around me really well now, no one on this board is going to ram anything down anyone's throat that the community doesn't feel they want. That's not how we operate. Okay, so I'm sorry for my short homily. Let's go back to you.
I appreciate everything you said, and it goes back to that holistic approach and looking at it as a whole district as opposed to just siloed options. It also goes back to what Chris had mentioned at the very beginning is you're not going to like every option, but you don't want to get 10 years down the road and say, why didn't we talk about this one? And fortunately tonight you can say, we did talk about it. So that is absolutely the
Now,
direct.
bring on option E.
And then option E really looks at another opportunity for grade alignment. And this really looks at creating that ninth grade academy. And so we look at the K through 4, again, in the elementaries of the 5 elementary schools, the 5 through 8, a ninth grade academy, and then a 10 through 12 building. And option E is very similar to D with the option of JT Lambert potentially becoming that ninth grade academy, giving you the opportunity to expand and grow. And you could potentially have academies or magnet school along with a ninth grade academy. There's a little bit of extra room in JT Lambert to make that work. And that is an option and opportunity moving forward.
And if I can just say some things on this option, the South High School is at capacity, but remember 300 students go to MCTI, 150 in the morning, 150 in the afternoon. So you're not actually at capacity. And this would be a short-term solution. So the reality of a magnet school and academies is building a lot of curriculum. If you've been paying attention, we are feverishly trying to close the curriculum writing gap that was ignored for 20 years. We want to continue that process, get solid secondary curriculum in place that is written and board approved, and then Mr. Snyder and his team can start to build academies. This gives ninth grade as their own academy at JTL, but then it gives us also space and time to build other academies and put some academies at JTL eventually, if that's what we so choose, or they all just land here at South.
And then once again, the North and Lehman schools are over capacity again.
Correct.
But that, keep in mind, you're looking at elementary versus a secondary, so the capacities would change. We just wanted to keep capacities consistent across the board. So everybody was looking at numbers, not jumping all over the place. Why did this change and why did this one not? Elementaries get a higher capacity than secondaries.
We also have NCTI, as you're talking about, but that's over capacity right now. We have 600 people waiting for this. So the academy could help alleviate some of that too. So that's.
Depends what academies you decide to direct us to build, right? And that are.
We're just talking.
Yep.
Pie in the sky.
Yep, absolutely.
Question, with the academy model, what does that do for those students for sports?
Nothing. So it would be considered one school, which is why.
So ninth graders would not be able to participate in junior varsity and varsity sports in high school until they get to high school?
No, they would be bused. So it would be it would be one school, just 2 buildings, 2 miles apart. And they would be bused here for athletics and extracurriculars.
Okay.
Which is why we chose JTL and not any other school, because in proximity, they're the closest.
That's correct.
with regard to, you mentioned MCTI with 150 kids in the morning and the afternoon, so 150 seats. Of those 150 to 300 that we have, how many of those are currently ninth grade students that we would factor into the ninth grade academy and factor out of the high school? Do we have any idea about roughly? I know you have the number. I don't know why I asked you that.
I do not have it
Okay.
broken down by grade.
All right.
It's in my office. I don't have it in front of me. I only have it by program.
Okay.
Good. But thank you.
Lots of things. Thank you.
So then the last slide we want to bring up, and this really goes back to the Moscow list, and that's something that we can discuss tonight as well. If there are things that you would like to be added to the list, taken off, rearranged, that would be great. That's great discussion pieces. But we really like to take those Moscow, the must-have, should have, and could have items and compare them across each of the options. So you'll see across the top all of the options, all 5 options, and which ones of the Moscow or the must-have, should have, could have, it addresses. So to pull some out, for example, aligning your elementaries, that hits all of them except for the status quo, the maintaining right now. And you can also look at across the board, we would address safety, security in all of your buildings. That is just one of the simple ones that would be addressed in preventative maintenance on all of the buildings. At the bottom, you'll notice, and this is where we want to get into a little bit more detail. And as Dr. Vitale had talked about, looking a little bit more at maybe 2 options, really looking at what are the long-term operating expenses? Do you have savings? Do you have more cost? You'll see that option B has the red in that because that's the one that addresses JM Hill. So you would potentially, and back to your question of bonding, you would potentially have a bond to be able to renovate or rebuild that school in option B.
Which is possible. We're not saying it's not possible.
That's correct.
It's absolutely possible.
It would just add to your operating expenses budget.
Yep.
That's correct.
You mentioned that there's going to be an open house, public forum, right?
It's January.
January 10th.
Is there an opportunity for us maybe as a board to consider having one at JM Hill so that we explore that space with the community? I think that that's an important piece.
Absolutely.
And so it would be adding another, an additional meeting space, time, date.
Would you just
When
do
you
the one on the
say-
10th of JM Hill
No.
instead of?
No.
I would have a separate one.
I would have a
The
separate-
You
second-
say explore that space. Do you mean actually tour the building with the people? Or you mean just do kind of a town hall at JM Hill specifically?
We could talk about that, but I think having something at JM Hill would be really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have one other question. What happens if we as a board might like part of one option and part of another option? Is that possible?
That's absolutely a possibility. We actually did that with the steering committee. 3 of the options morphed over time, and we welcome any changes or modifications, and we can morph any of the options.
And then one other question, in your exploration of our buildings and potential uses, did you ever explore any options of utilizing any of our buildings for alternative education, maybe leasing out a building to alternative education for our school district and others in the area? Has that been explored at all on your end?
I'm not familiar with third-party alt ed programs that are looking for space. Are you familiar with specific?
Well, no, when I've discussed this before with certain people in the community, well, I've always been a proponent of trying to bring all of our alternative education students somehow back to our school, then sending them all over the country, so to say, as far as placement and so forth. But we've always said, oh, we don't have the space. Well, if we had this space and we could utilize it, but then I was told that maybe we can't do that because it would be too costly for us to do it. And then and it was mentioned in discussion in passing, well, why can't you, like, say Bucksmont Academy or something has a building in town they're renting that they might, like, I'm using them as a reference because that's the only alternative school I know offhand that this, I think it's called, let's go with the name, utilizing one of our buildings for them, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to look at options, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to be super clear, we're not sending children all over the country.
Well, it's over the counties, so to
Yep,
say.
absolutely. And it is almost impossible to guarantee that all of our students will be educated in our buildings because some of our students have incredibly complex needs and there's very, very highly specialized programs. I think of Scranton School for the Deaf of Hard of Hearing. If we have two students who have those issues, it is better for them to be in a place that specializes in it than us having a small group of personnel that understand ASL, that are able to communicate. So there are some students who will always be out of district placement and we will not be able to meet those needs. However, bringing alternative ed back, and when you say alternative ed, I want to be really, really clear. Typically, alternative ed is students with emotionality and violence. Like when we talk about alt ed, or are you talking about specialized special education programs like multiple disabilities, things of that nature? I just want to make sure I understand the population of students you're trying to support.
Well, I'm looking at all options. So I'm looking at both options if possible. I know, I mean, if we have this space, we can utilize it, I'd like to see us utilize it.
And the other question I just had is that January 10th meeting, will we also have Zoom access
Yes.
for our,
It is going to be live streamed and Zoomed.
so, and people have the option to submit their questions in advance, just in case.
If that is what we want, absolutely.
I would like that, so
Well-
that way, we have people up, who may live way up north, like Taniment and north up there in PLME, who might not make it down, so they can submit their questions in advance, because JTL is far for those up there, so. Just to make it equitable for that.
Okay, great. Any other, have you complete? I'm sorry.
Nope, it's great.
Okay.
Time for questions and answers.
Any other questions? First of all, thank you. A lot of information certainly to think about. That's for sure.
And we can forward any additional comments we have.
So let me just go over kind of what our plan is. So we wanted to roll out 5 options. And the reality is that you might hate all 5 options. And you might say, nope, don't want to even talk about any of these, go back and find 5 more options. And then we will sit down and we will come up with 5 other options. Or you might like some of these options and you might narrow it down from 5 to 2. You as a board will direct us. So what we'd like to do is January 10th, we will hold a town hall meeting. Then after that, we will send out a survey with all 5 options, very much like we did with the bell time study. Here's this option, tell us everything you think about it. What works, what doesn't work. Here's this option, tell us everything you think about. What works, what doesn't work. We'll go through all those 5 options, we'll collect all that survey data, and then RLPS will come back in February and say, this is what your community is saying. Where do you want to go and what do you want to do? That will give you time. So these are new to you, right? You have not seen these until you received your board book last week. So that will give you time to process through, think of your own questions, think of your own concerns or strengths, whatever you want. And then based on the community feedback and your own, we will make a decision in February which way to go. Which way may we go might be go back to the drawing board, give us more, or we really like these 2, let's go explore, or we need more information, go gather more information. But we are not doing this in a silo. We want, this warms my heart. The fact that people are coming out and care. So we've been talking about the feasibility study for months. Every board meeting I've spoken about it and nobody was listening. We sent out surveys that we're doing a feasibility study. And now that we're here, people are listening and that makes me happy because you have to make an informed decision and we serve our community. So thank you for coming. Thank you for speaking, but it's going to be lots of information gathering and we will do everything we can to make sure that every voice is heard. And we're not just going to send to our school population. I want to get it out for our community and our taxpayers as well, to get their take on it, of what do they believe we should do. So we're going to work on that survey component on our end. You are going to talk to your constituents as you do and gather their information. We're going to have a town hall meeting, and now we'll have two. We'll have another one at JM Hill, which is great. I think it's an excellent idea. And we will gather all that feedback, and then in February, you're going to continue that conversation. Does that work?
Thank you, yes. thank
Yes.
you.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm choking, but.
So I was going to do a presentation on the bell time study, but I am looking, and we have some young friends out here. And I am wondering if we can push my presentation about bell time study to next month, so that our friends and families out here can speak and we can get everybody back, because there will not be a 2-hour delay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I did consider it. I'm like, well, it depends on how many people speak tonight, but that's not responsible.
So we'll go to the committee.
So everybody speak, right? So we have a 2-hour delay.
So
I'm sorry.
Agenda and just go right to public participation and then
Yes.
committee reports.
If it's that you-
Deductible to the board.
Yeah, we're fine. We'll do, first of all, any questions last chance?
Nope.
Not last
Thank
chance,
you.
last
Not last
tonight.
chance, last chance tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we are going to rearrange because we have, and I know all of you are just dying to hear all our committee reports, but we're gonna reverse our little agenda here and we will go to public participation. If I could just explain, if you haven't been to a board meeting, we do allow 3 minutes of public participation. It's like a game show, the clock runs. And when you hear the bell, you don't have to stop mid-sentence, but we'd ask you to bring your comment to a conclusion. We are here to listen tonight. We're not necessarily here to dialogue a lot, but we are here to listen. Dr. Vitale is a wonderful note taker. We are around after the meeting. If you want to talk, chat a little more impersonally, certainly we are here for that. But during this part of the meeting, it is a 3-minute limit for the discussions that we have. And when you come up, if you please, yes, Mr. Rose.
We will share with them. I'm gonna take a summation.
And it's recorded.
Thank you.
Well, and we hired them, so we're directing them. They're not directing us. We are the ones in charge of their information, so they don't need to, they're gonna do what we say. Basically, we've hired them. Okay, so I think that's when you come up, just give your name and where you're a resident of, the Stroudsburg, Smithfield. Tell us 5 nice things about yourself. And no, sorry, don't do that. And then go on from there. So some of you have pre-signed up. I'm going to call on those names that I have here first. Kyle. Hello, Kyle. Come on up right to the front here. Just give your name and your place of residence. And then you're on.
How we doing? My name's Kyle O'Connell, East Stroudsburg. I'm just one of the many parents who, when they've heard about this, wanted to put out their voice of really keeping JM Hill. I know there's many different options that people are going to bring in to the concerns in that, whether it's transportation, for teachers, for staff, for classroom sizes, all those things. I just wanted to be included in having a voice out there. I didn't want to just stay at home and not speak and then say, oh, well, I hope they figure it out. I just want it to be known that there were many numbers who are trying hard, and I know you guys are trying hard. I know that the education is the most important thing for our kids, and there's many things in education beyond just what they're learning, but also the community that's built around them. So I just wanted to add myself into that.
And good to see you, Kyle.
Yes,
again.
good to see you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't read the handwriting. Melavita? Villani, I'm so sorry. There's the handwriting. I just go read it. I'm sorry.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I do not agree for Jane Hill to be closed down because it's gonna affect the kids emotionally, mentally, and what's gonna happen to the faculties. My son's been at school since kindergarten. Now he's in 4th grade. To close Jane Hill, I don't think it's not the right decision to go about it, and I don't see nothing in that school is falling apart. They say allegedly. I don't see nothing. I mean, I grow very close with Dr. Reese, the principal. And I talk to my son's teachers on a daily basis. And for them to go to a different school, that's gonna like, how's that's gonna affect them, you know? How's gonna affect his friends, my son's friends, and how they gonna, like, they be in the same class since kindergarten. They played together, now they in fourth grade. To close down Jane Hill, there's no other school close by, and plus I went the walking distance, so it's best for me to get to my son's school on time. And then if he has to get transferred to another school, let's say Jane Hill does close, it's gonna be more hard for me to get there because I don't have no vehicle. Only have this transportation like Uber, and I have to ask my neighbor for a ride to get me to the school. And it's hard because I'm a single mom, and I'm doing everything I could possibly do for my sons. So it's not that, I don't think James Hill will be a great decision to close the school. I don't want to see the school closed down. And they have great academically, and they work with my son, and I think it's a great school for my son to, be in there, and that's it.
Okay, thank you, Lyle.
You don't have to fill the whole 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So all right,
Thank you, appreciate it.
Like you have the last name.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Tara?
Well, before you start the 3 minutes, congratulations to the school board on the last elections. And I just wanted to say, for a legislative update, besides the money that the state gave you last year, you got almost $7 million more this year. And you can count on me to keep funding you, because if anybody in the audience didn't know, East Stroudsburg, out of 500 school districts, has not been fairly funded in more than 2 decades.
Amen.
So our job is to make sure we fund this school district like they should be and should have been. So I will continue to fight for public education, and thank you for all you do. It's a thankless job. Oh, I was hoping that didn't count. Okay. There we go.
Keep going.
It's a product of East Stroudsburg, a 5th generation East Stroudsburg, and a graduate of East Stroudsburg High School. And we won't talk about those years. I was at the JM Hill as well. As a matter of fact, my class came up with the JM Hill Jaguars back in 1981. And it's it's a elementary school, and I'm so sick and tired of people trying to pick on the little kids. Let's just close elementary schools. They're not cattle. This is a community school. You can walk to it. That school is beautiful, and I guarantee you it's in better shape than your new schools because it was built to last. And I know because my mom went there. I also substitute taught there in 2019. So when I just go back in time and I think about JM Hill, I think about when they tried to close Ramsey, and they did because we had a really bad school board that hated public education. They wanted to privatize everything. Those school board members never got back in, and it took 10 years, but we reopened Ramsey to a head start. What is it zoned for? Is it single? Is it R1, R2? What is your classroom guidelines for the class sizes? Because the Stroudsburg handbook was 15 to 18 kids. They had 27 kids in the classroom at Ramsey, and they still closed it. Their reading, their math, everything went down for years when you had to relocate kids and cram them into different schools. I'm just so sick of it. You won't save one dime closing JM Hill. I really like the idea of the powerhouse high school because when I was in high school, there wasn't a North. We had Lehman Township come into South. We were district champs in field hockey. We were Centennial League champs in football. I mean, we were a powerhouse school. I understand that. But that's not what we're here for. When I saw JM Hill being closed, I thought, here we go. 10 years ago, they wanted to do this with Ramsey. They did it because they didn't listen, and they paid for it. And now it took 10 years to have it reopened. Please don't close JM Hill. Stop picking on the little kids. Community schools are good for parents. It's good for education. It's good for reading, math, everything that goes along with it. They're out of diapers at 3 years old. They're going into kindergarten, and you're going to put them on a bus. And this is a walkable school. I know you have busers, but please don't close it. I will be here every school board meeting to make sure that JM Hill does not close. Thank you.
And Tara, we thank you for having our back down in Harrisburg. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up would be Karen. Karen, you there?
I see those. Cause I'm trying to get. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Karen Iricane. I'm not just a resident of East Stroudsburg Borough, but I live on East Broad Street. And what Tara mentioned, I just want to piggyback. I do not want to drive past every day down East Broad Street and see an empty school. None of the options mentioned anything, which it's not their place to say what you would do if you closed JM Hill. Anything going forward that includes closing JM Hill should most definitely include what you plan to do with the property other than let the school continue or let the school deteriorate by sitting unoccupied there for 10 plus years. Clearview is still closed, by the way. Nobody wants to see that. Second of all, as a parent and a taxpayer, I am concerned what would happen to my property value because the selling point of my home is the fact that I live down the street from the school. If you close it and it's sitting there empty, what does that happen to us taxpayers in there who already have a high burden because we live in a borough with a church, a hospital, and a college? Thirdly, on a personal note, my husband passed away in 2022. My son had left JM Hill in 2019. That school came around us and supported us. Many of those teachers he had retired and they came back and support us and still too. We run into them in the library. They work and they still come to games and they see him. And now my youngest is a kindergarten student in there with some special education needs. And he's able to get that in a nice small environment that supports him being in a small community school, a short bus ride away because where I live does not have sidewalks. So it's not safe to walk. I can't imagine him being bused and having to go into a bigger school and potentially a bigger classroom that he already is in. That would be an overwhelming and unsupportive environment for him. It is not just about closing a school just because it doesn't, it looks old. It has warmth to it and family to it and community to it. And we are all thriving there and we want to continue to thrive there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next person, Gloriana. Hi.
Professional, I serve a lot of people in the community. So I think, first of all, I want to thank you for, this is really comforting because I was really upset. I was really mad. I am a mother of a child with cognitive disabilities. Ms. Vitale, you talked about a lot of those, those students that are going to be affected. I drive my daughter because of that. I don't want her on a bus. If you bring me up further, it's going to be harder for me. I'm a working professional in East Stroudsburg. I deal with people in crisis. There was a woman here talking about there's many low-income families in the borough that cannot drive. The public transportation, I fight with MCTA all the time for my chronically ill patients. It's horrible. I'm constantly calling Tara's office or somebody to fight for my patients. Now we're talking about students, a vulnerable population. I teach my children resiliency. I teach them emotional intelligence. My daughter is in a class of 22. That has been consistent with my son since he was kindergarten to 3rd grade. You're telling me there's a low enrollment in JM Hill? I can't accept that. I can't accept that. Then we're looking at other schools that are in higher elevations. I mean, you called for a snow day the other day. They could have went to school half a day. I mean, I can't do that. I could lose my job every time we take off or any time extra that I had to do to run to my daughter's school because she's having a behavior problem because she's in a classroom now of 30 students. Please think of that. The other thing is I live closer to East Stroudsburg Elementary School. So I was kind of off, then I had to go to JM Hill. And I'm thinking, I gotta drive over there, I can walk over to this school. It's nowhere, it's this. I pay an enormous. If I showed you my tax bill, you'd probably fall on the floor. I pay more in taxes than I do my mortgage. I've had my house reassessed, reappraised, and fought with the tax office. The cohesiveness in JM Hill, as everybody in here has said, is amazing. Every parent, every teacher, especially when my daughter entered kindergarten and I started seeing her disabilities. Everyone came to rally. She has a full IEP. I'm a mental health provider. I'm a social worker, but when I go home, I'm a mom. So please, please, I'm asking you. There's 22 students in my son's class. There's 18 students in my daughter's class. 30, my daughter needs one-to-one. please don't do that to her. Please don't do that to the children that are struggling. And children with cognitive disabilities is not a new thing. It just, we're more aware, we're more sensitive of it now. And you guys are responsible for her, for my son, for all those other children. So please, please, and I'm glad to see that we had A, B, C, D, E, and F plan. I'd also like to see some of those plans maybe merge a little bit and come together like they were saying. I just kind of feel like I didn't get any awareness other than this woman sending me a flyer, handing me out in the street. I didn't know about this. I will be here all the time now.
Thank you, Gloria. The next name I have, Michelle. Okay, that's not Michelle, I know that. Okay, Michelle Briscoe. Okay, speaking on Matt, okay, welcome, Matt.
Hi, thank you. Just want to thank everybody for their time. I'm really glad that you feel that it's very important to have these settings, to have these conversations. I think everybody in the room can agree with you on that one. I just want to share with everyone that in my professional work environment, I come across a lot of slide presentations and had a chance to review the slides today. There's a lot of missing information going on in there. I think it was evident just listening to you guys ask your questions. There is a lot of confusion over the enrollment numbers and the percentage breakdown of, who can be part of that feasibility study. So just as we continue on this journey, as we have more conversations and more settings and town halls, I think you guys need to clarify those non-negotiables a little bit. Not wanting to split someone from their intermediate school to their high school. I get that that may be a lofty dream, but I don't know if that's the shared sentiment that a lot of the community has. So I'd really like to see more data behind why that's a non-negotiable for you. Of the survey questions that were presented in the consultant study, didn't see anything regarding questions like that. I think it was more of safety related type of questions, which everyone's going to answer yes for safety related questions. So would like to understand the non-negotiables a little bit more. And I think I heard a comment at one point in prior conversations about kids in intermediate school staying with their friends through high school and through life. And I don't know if anybody else can name a couple of friends from intermediate school, but the majority of my friends that I obtained in my life were from at least high school into college throughout my adult life. So please get more clarification on those non-negotiables. The other thing was, why everyone's in this room, which is the potential option to close down JM Hill. Of the options that were available to save JM Hill, at no point from a consultant that has architectural in their name and in their profession wasn't able to give an estimate of what those renovation costs would be. I found that very hard to understand. They should be exactly the ones to be able to tell you a dollar amount of what it would take to renovate that school versus just, saying that it's going to be up to you guys to get a bond to pay for that. So would like to know what the costs are for any renovations for any of the elementary schools that are in the options. And then my biggest pain point, because I am a data guy, is of all those options, of all those breakdowns of enrollments, at no point did I see any waterfall of showing the class sizes of current classes, as well as their potential to move out and into one of those additional schools, like intermediate up into high school. So please show us what a proper waterfall of all the movement of these kids will look like through any of these options. Those are my.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, next up, Bob.
I won't be saying it, so that's the good news. That's the one good news.
Thank you, board. Thank you. Welcome to board member. Actually, I was on the board for 12 years here, 4 years at another school district, so I do have some experience. I just want to say, it's important to look at our buildings. I understand that. We did this study about 12 years ago. That being said, I just think the lack of community involvement was shown by this. This was the worst rollout of a study that I've seen. And again, I spent 16 years on school board. And while it may have been said, it was not said in the community. To have 170 community members submit a survey is terrible. 170, he said, and 300 some staff members is a good number. But again, not to roll that out and to get this presentation based on that 170 and 370 staff members in the steering committee, I think was not good. Listened numerous times that JM Hill has not been renovated. As Keith Carcutt said, we did put windows in, we did put a heating system in that school. We've done numerous things in that school, but JM Hill has always been neglected. When I was on the board, we didn't renovate the bathrooms because of ADA accommodations. We didn't put a kitchen in there because of other costs. We didn't do a lot of things at that school because of other buildings. Bushkill Elementary is getting a new roof at 3.5 million, and nobody says anything about that. JM needs one for 1.3. But JM Hill is a true community neighborhood school, as has been said. It's centrally located in R1 district. Remember that. With many students walking to and from school each day, parents waiting at the end of the day for their kids. A true community school, getting to know the parents. Generations of families have been at that school. Generations. Grandparents, parents, children, and the grandchildren. Something that is not measurable, and they're not hearing the measurement of that thing. It is JM Hill is also the population center of the district. East Stroudsburg Borough is looking at some zoning changes over by Orchard Street with up to 10-story buildings there with apartments and things. So there is things happening in the borough. To close would be short-sighted. Redrawing or line boundaries provide capacity to the north is not the process that we should use. If Bushkill Elementary is losing kids, why isn't that an option to close the school up there? And not pointing fingers, but when they said all options are on the table, they didn't look at all options. Smithfield has 308 kids. You could close that and move them all to ESC's, problem solved, but not getting into that. Costly repairs at other schools have been made, repeating HVAC, and I think it was due to lack of preventive maintenance. Roofs leaking that damaged floors. JM Hill has the original hardwood floors from 1927, yet Smithfield Elementary and ESC were putting new floors in that gymnasium. For what reason? It's only 17 years old. Again, HVAC has not been updated. Other schools, like I said, floors placed, let's see, property values will be affected by this. The district will still need to maintain the school, lowering property values in the borough, which is already low. Busing costs will skyrocket. Again, we looked at this to transport these kids. Rezoning is up again in the borough. Final study conducted for train service is coming, and it will be coming. The final study is being done. You can laugh, but it's closer than ever. And there's, again, JM Hill is walkable to and from ESU, and JM Hill works. It's a successful school and should not be closed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bob. The next name I have is Jane. You can only hope. Hi, Jane. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jane.
Sorry, I'm a
Hey.
little short. Good evening, Dr. Vitale, school board, new school board members, welcome. I'm so grateful to be able to be here to speak to you this evening. I'm an East Stroudsburg Borough Council member. I'm also a counselor and advocate for domestic violence and sexual assault victims with Safe Monroe, formerly Women's Resources. However, I'm not here in either one of those capacities this evening. I'm here as a parent, a taxpayer, and a voter. All three of my sons went to JM Hill. This school is more than a brick and mortar building. It's a neighborhood school. It builds community within those walls. This community has taught my own children respect for themselves and the people around them, how to be a proud cavalier, and how to wear the color purple with school pride. Not only does JM Hill hold memories for myself and many people in this room, it is an affordable before and after school program for the YMCA. It holds a breakfast lunch program offered in the summer for anyone who is hungry and needs to eat. And as we all know, 1 in 4 children in the United States goes to bed hungry. And as
and I grew up as one of those children. If only I had had some place like James Hill to walk to for me and my brothers so that we could have a meal. I understand that if you vote to choose to close James Hill, you will bus students to another school. I'm concerned about class size in regard to that, which will be the capacity away from local borough students who can walk to James Hill for the programs I mentioned. Also, ESU sends many student teachers for observation. The convenience for that ESU feeder program is walkable for ESU. James Hill also uses many town locations for field trips, ESU's planetarium, Dansbury Park, Zaki's Pond, as well as the community theater. And let's not forget the K-Kids that walk to Shirley Futch Center to help the residents there. I know how good things look on paper and in dollar columns. However, this is more than numbers and profit. This is about children who live in a low-income community that can walk to James Hill and take advantage of the after hours and weekend school events. If James Hill closes, you are taking away a part of our community that has mothered many children and prepared them for their future. It is bad enough that our federal education is being gutted. I ask all of you to search long and hard for a better solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Jane, you win our timing award for the evening. Thank you. Excellent. You did an excellent job. Lauren?
Good evening. Now you can all put a face to your inbox.
Yes,
Put your
hi.
phones in. A borough resident, taxpayer, mother of 4 district students. Let's talk about feasibility. Feasibility is not measured on paper, it's measured in the lives it affects. True feasibility means doing what is responsible, ethical, and in the best interest of those affected. A plan that uproots students, strains family, and closes a community school may be possible on paper, but it's not feasible in real life. Our youngest children, feasibility must include emotional and developmental stability. Elementary students need routine, security, a sense of belonging. Longer transportation times and larger overcrowded environments are not minor adjustments. They fundamentally change how children learn and feel at school. Closing a neighborhood school removes stability at the most critical time of development. But the options presented tonight don't just affect James Hill students. They don't just affect the elementary students. They affect every student, every family, and every teacher in this district. So I'm asking this board, how feasible are these options? How feasible is it to transport every middle school student in the district all the way to North Campus? How feasible is it to place all 9th graders into one single building? How feasible is it to transport every high school student to South? And more importantly, how feasible is this for the families you represent? How feasible is this for the transportation department already struggling to meet daily demands? How feasible is this for students spending an hour or more on a bus every day? How feasible is this for families with multiple children in multiple buildings nearly an hour apart? This is not an assumption, it's the inevitable outcome of these decisions. A plan that fails the very students, families, and educators it's meant to serve is not feasible, no matter what your reports say. I spoke with Ms. Vitale. She used the word transparency quite often. She sent out a survey asking families about safety, curriculum, and equity. But let's be clear tonight, this is not transparency. No parent or student was told their responses could be used to justify turning this entire district upside down. Transparency means being upfront about the outcomes being considered, not retroactively using general feedback to support drastic changes. This is consent without disclosure, not transparency. After reviewing the 5 options, it's clear there's only one truly feasible choice. Option A is the only option that works for students, families, staff in the district. Closing James Hill is not an option. Your primary justification for James Hill closure is building conditions, but these conditions did not arise overnight. Years of deferred maintenance caused this problem. James Hill did not fail this district. This district failed James Hill. If feasibility is the standard, option A is your only responsible choice, and closing James Hill must be taken off the table. Will this board be remembered for protecting our children or turning their backs on them?
Thank you, Lauren. Next up, Anna. Welcome back.
Hello. Some of my former teachers are up here. I'm a little nervous. And the principal. I'm speaking tonight as a new homeowner and a landlord who made home purchases within distance of JM Hill about the long-term economic impact of closing this school. I also, and most importantly, I think a graduate of JM Hill, a generational one where my grandmother also went there. I was blessed with the opportunity to also be old enough to walk home with my little sister after school while my parents were able to continue their professional careers and make a snack and watch as much as TV as we could until they came home and we had to finish homework. But in my professional career now, where I commute to New York City from this borough, I work with consultants all day long. I hire McKinsey to do my work. And a voluntary survey that they're referencing, it tells us when 170 people fill it out, it's the people who had the time to click the link. I'd never be able to present a survey that has less than half of the people fill it out in my professional career. We're being asked to risk millions in property and in student experience based on a survey that didn't even reach a majority. That's not data, that's guesswork. In the report that we heard from the consultants, I also wanted to reframe capacity. Capacity alone is misleading. What matters is utilization. JM Hill is at a 93% utilization rate and has much more use space than the other schools. And a building neglected for 30 years didn't fail, capital planning did. Neighborhood elementary schools protect property values. And for me, my home purchase and my listing of my rental, that was the primary thing I listed. It was the proximity to the schools. Family choose this space because people like me were able to walk to the school, people whose parents work. If JM Hill closes, the demand drops and resale value declines, and any short-term operational savings would be weighed against those long-term economic losses for homeowners and the borough. There's decades of housing research that shows this impact. There was a post-pandemic study by the University of Michigan where residential property values after closing a local school dropped on average by 13%. And that goes up to 25% when the local context was taken into consideration. So let's consider a home value is $300,000, which in the borough it's $308,000. Your property is going to drop by maybe $32,000. That's significant. Finally, deferred maintenance and capital planning failures do not justify a closure. I urge the board to slow down and complete an economic impact analysis and consider the financial consequences before making irreversible decisions that affect the community for decades. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. The next name I have is Kimberly. Oh, we know, believe me, we would do it in a second.
Hi, my name is Kimberly. I want to begin by sharing that 4 out of my 6 children have attended and thrived at JM Hill. This school has been an integral part of our family for many years, and it holds a special place in our heart. While I have several concerns to address, I want to start with a deeply personal one. One of our children who's currently enrolled has special needs. The support he has received at JM Hill has been nothing but short of transformative, from addressing sensory challenges to improving his speech. The dedication and expertise of the staff have made a significant difference in his life. Closing JM Hill will not only be devastating for his state of mind, but also detrimental to his academic progress. Moreover, the impact of closing JM Hill would extend far beyond its walls. It would affect not just the students at JM Hill, but also those in surrounding schools. We would see larger classroom sizes, increased stress for teachers, and an overall more challenging learning environment for everyone involved. I urge you to consider alternatives to closing one of the finest schools in your district. Let's work together and find a solution to keep our community's educational needs at the forefront. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. That was all the cards I had. Is there, we have anyone else for public input? Okay, and again, thank you. We, as a board members, do appreciate, and your superintendent appreciate that. Anyone online? Wanting to speak?
Okay.
Get on the online form?
Yep, I do now.
Okay. Hey, Melinda, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Melinda. You are on. If you'd like to address the board.
Yes, just going based off of what pretty much all of the parents are saying. My daughter did start at JM Hill last year, and she did have some behavioral changes throughout the year that the school really, helped with. And this year she's thriving, and I really don't think that she would be thriving if it was any other school. And she doesn't do very good with change. So if we were to close JM Hill and she would have to go to another school, I just feel that she would go backwards in progress, and that would ultimately affect her, long term, educationally, just as many of the other parents are saying. But that's all I really wanted to say, and I just wanted to be heard about that.
Okay, thank you, Melinda. Appreciate your input.
Thank you.
Okay, we're good. And again, thank you to everyone. We certainly appreciate hearing from you. And please be assured that all 9 of us and our superintendent will take everything you said tonight as we're talking and thinking about the future. We are way at the beginning of this process. So it's good that we got a chance to talk right at the beginning of the process. And I thank everybody for being here. You are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. We have committee reports coming up. If anyone needs to run, we certainly understand, but you're welcome to stay. I'll give a few minutes in case anyone does need to get going.
Cards.
Oh, there you go. Okay, we're going to continue with our committee reports. And first up, MCTI, Jason.
Thank you. Let's wait till everybody gets out. And I load up my phone.
I'm sorry I lost your audience. Jason.
No, it's okay. They knew I was going to talk, so they left him.
Here we go. Best friends up.
I'll get you in bed sooner. All right. MCTI, we had our joint operating committee meeting on December 8th, 2025, which happened to be the main focus was our reorganization for the 2026 school year and approving key operational items. Our first order of business was electing new officials for the upcoming year. We elected Diana Serflos as our vice chair, and I was elected as the new chairperson for the upcoming school year.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. After the elections, we approved the minutes from our November 3rd meeting. We received and reviewed various comprehensive reports from our solicitors, our superintendent of record, our treasurer's report, and all the reports from numerous administrative departments. We also received a wonderful student representative report, like we heard this evening. We specifically, during the building and grounds report, we specifically discussed the concerning issue where the new addition experienced a major power surge that caused all the overhead lights to fail. Currently, that issue is under investigation. Under items requiring JOC action, we approved several motions. Financially, we approved the transfers, payments of invoices, and investment information. We also passed the 1-year renewal agreement with Train for $5,574. In curriculum and instruction, we approved an articulation agreement with the Lehigh Carbon Community College for diversified occupations and liberal arts programs. We also discussed some personal items, which we approved the resignation of Brandon Vineyard, which was our drafting and design instructor, Laurel Battle at NTSH advisor, and we granted family and medical leave. Furthermore, we approved the appointments and rate changes for multiple adult continuing ed classes or ACE classes and instructors, and confirmed the members of the Occupational Advisory Committee for the 25-26 school year. There will be no GOC meeting in the month of January. Our next meeting is February 3rd.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Jason.
you.
And next up is Colonial IU 20, and that's me. The board approved a range of personnel, policy, and operational action items to support students, staff, and members of the different districts, including a new one-to-one associate teacher position to support the students at Colonial Academy, where we send some of our alternative ed students. The first reading of an updated parent-guardian relations policy, and the first reading of an artificial intelligence policy, which did generate a lively discussion, I might add. Multiple affiliation agreements with higher education partners to support student internships and professional training, purchase of 2 new school buses, and the approval of a STEM grant to expand professional development. During new business, Chris, the director of the IU, shared appreciation for the many partners and volunteers supporting the 3rd annual Sensitive Santa event. This is an extremely wonderful event. The Sensitive Santa is made for students who would have issues being in a very crowded environment to greet Santa or to be on with Santa. The Sensitive Santa creates a different environment so that students with disabilities can actually have a time with Santa, take pictures, family can take pictures, and it's a really, really beautiful event. And actually, you know, the people in the community down in that area especially volunteer. So it's a very beautiful event. I have pictures. I won't show them here, but if you have, I could show you them on my phone if anybody wants to see pictures of it. But it is a great event. And then finally, the various communications. Student reflections were shared on the Future Educators Initiative, recognizing the collaborative efforts of staff and partners supporting future special education staff across the region, an effort to get students who are in high school to consider not only special education fields, but the other extended fields like speech pathology, occupational therapists, and all of the other fields that go along with students with disability. The CIU 20 received recognition from state legislators for participation in disability resource fairs and community events, including their Cafe 71, which is a student-led coffee and lunch shop where students gain real work experience. And then finally, for juvenile justice continuum of care, the IU 20 was recognized by the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for its leadership role in a statewide initiative focused on diverting youth from the juvenile justice system toward community-based supports, which is really an excellent program. So once again, always impressive to sit and listen to what's happening at our IU 20 in behalf of our most needy students. So we thank them for all of their efforts down there. Next is property and facilities. Rich?
Okay, the Properties and Facilities Committee met on December 3rd. We approved our minutes, which is a good thing, and then we approved the monthly meeting dates. We discussed the how we're going to run our committees and the committee and what information we're going to talk about, and we proposed a committee charter so that we have kind of like the aligned ideas set down on paper, and we'll approve that at our next meeting. We discussed the current projects in the popper, things that are going on right now. We're going to recommend to the board the couple of, some very specific things. One is the Smithfield Gym floor repair for $12,408, JM Hill hallway floor repair for $3,988. And these will be things that we discuss also in finance, so I'm not going to go through all of these items. We discussed some of the projects that were completed throughout the year and our current project list. We have some CHA invoices for the various projects that they've worked on, applications for payments for various things that were done by CHA for the district, that the CHA is our engineering firm, And we made some motions to send things to finance so that they can then send up here to us. That's my report.
Okay, thanks, Rich, and thanks for taking over the committee. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Education programs and resources, Ann?
EPR committee met on Thursday, December 4th at 5:30 PM. Mr. Snyder, Ms. Palmelto, and Dr. Prowl presented the monthly EPR newspaper, which highlights the learning opportunities that were taking place in the previous month. Some of the topics included the Wellness Day for our faculty and staff, the deep dive into AI with our technology coaches, an update on the classroom walkthroughs with a focus on student engagement, administrative discussions on social and emotional learning as the initial stage of incorporating SEL into our classrooms in an organic and meaningful way. Then curriculum develop continues with the kickoff of the social studies curricular rewrite, linkage training, looking at math standards and skills, analyzing structure and instructional science design with STEELS, ELA continuing with the curricular framework, and business and school counselors evaluating and refining personal finance 1 and 2. Lastly, a thank you to our gifted education students at South for another successful Share Your Career Day. Mr. Snyder and Ms. Palmelter continued the presentation on the program of studies. This last stage, stage 4, is the largest. It is the section that houses all of the course offerings. I want to take this time to thank all of our teachers and our department chairs who really spend their time on that section, looking over each of the course descriptions, writing them, editing them, so that when 8th graders through 11th graders begin to look at what courses they want to take, there's a great summary for each of them to begin their choice of what they perhaps would like to take. Also, the program of studies for us as board members will be presented at our January board meeting. I asked the board to read over the program of studies. You'll have the link before our January meeting. So if you have any questions or concerns about what's in there, to email Mr. Snyder so he can address them. This way, when it comes up for us to discuss and to vote, all of any questions we have can be answered in a timely fashion, because we really don't want to have that not approved because of the process it then takes for the high school students to get it, for the kids at JTL and Lehman, and so forth. So just to be aware that that's coming in, to know to take a read over it, and we will vote on that in our January meeting. Again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Amy and Andy for all of their work. For those of you, and I could say to the students who've seen the program of studies, I know you're seniors, but just to take a look at it before you go, wow, compared to what it was. They really did brainstorming of questions that are like frequently asked by students. I mean, everything you could think of. It's like a little bit over 100 pages, this document. So the amount of work that has gone into it has been tremendous. So I know that it'll be appreciated by our, future students as they're looking into it, and their parents. So thanks again for all that work. Mr. Snyder is also putting the final touches on our comprehensive plan, and this will be presented at our January meeting also for the board. A general reminder for all of us that the support materials and details of everything that I report on are all attachments that we get at, every month when we're having our meetings. So please, take a look at those. If you ever have any questions or concerns that you want me or, Angie to bring up at our meetings, of course, we will do that. And I think that's really important. And again, for our community members, I kind of wish everybody else was still here. That, this is such an important committee. And I think Dr. Vitale had mentioned it before, and I know I've said it, we're 20 to 25 years behind in bringing our curriculum, up to where it needs to be. And so over the last year and a half, we've been, I should say, I haven't been working diligently. They have been working diligently, and, really moving forward with all of that. And so I try to condense, so we're not here forever listening to me report, but, definitely look at the materials and see what's going on, because it really, truly is amazing. It's exciting to see our district moving forward in a cohesive plan and deliberate path. And I want to thank all of our teachers, staff, and administrators for their hard work and dedication to our students and families.
tonight, listening to our parents here, who was speaking about JM Hill, at least maybe because I was an educator, yes, the building itself is important in its location, but if you heard time and time again, it was the staff, who made their children's education special. It was the staff who made them feel at ease and comfortable. It was the staff who was providing their level of expertise, to help them to grow academically, emotionally, socially, etc. And so, as we kind of are moving into our holiday season, I want to say publicly to our staff and educators and administrators, everyone who works in our district, that I hope you find some peace and relaxation during your most deserved break, because they definitely work hard for sure. Our next meeting is on Thursday, February 5th at 5:30, both here and on Zoom. Everyone, of course, is welcomed and encouraged to attend. Thank you.
Okay,
And
thank
the
you.
program of study was sent to you on Friday.
Mhm.
And if anybody else wants to see it, there's a link in our EPR agenda.
Okay, thank you. And Finance Committee, Rebecca.
Thank you. And just attending the EPR, just on a private note, I truly enjoy that committee and, and I will say, just to prop my kid up a little bit, he's actually teaching or guest speaking in Resica for their Steels program. Since he's an engineering major, they invited him in for their Steels program. So a lot of our students come back, not just mine, but I'm sure you guys will too. Eventually, when you whatever your major is, a teacher's going to say, "Oh my God, I want you to come and talk to the kids about what the future holds." So,
well, I'll just make that comment. I believe Jane, is that your name, commented we should hire that young lady who spoke. I taught her, quite a few years ago. Yes, she did. Yeah, for sure. And so, she's back,
yeah,
here
it's
speaking
it's
publicly.
amazing to see
So
the
it is
progression
a
of our kids.
beautiful thing, for sure. Thank
That,
you.
like mine were Resica, not JM Hill, but they still talk to their Resica teachers. And they're 18 and 21, my kids, and they still keep in touch with them. My son still emails the teacher he had at North to help him with his CAD classes that he's taking as an engineer. So it's our teachers. So thank you to our teachers and staff, all of them, whether, no matter what you do, you make a difference in our kids' lives and we appreciate. So, but on to finance. We met on December 9th, both here and via Zoom. And on the agenda, you'll see a contract for finalists. It's a contract renewal. And also the sale or disposal of some dentist chairs, since we no longer have the hygienist coming to the district. So you'll see that. And we also approved our dates for our future meetings. And there's some floor repairs that finance talked about both at Smithfield Elementary and JM Hill hallways. The CHA invoices, which include the ESE sprinklers, JTL data, JTL boilers, Smithfield boiler, the boardroom AV upgrades, the North Site Transportation Building, and then the applications of payment, which are through CHS, High School South Stadium Equipment, High School North Natatorium, Smithfield Elementary Boiler, JTL Data, and another one from JTL Data. And then some capital payments as well. And our next meeting is, I can scroll down on my agenda, I can tell you, is January 12th, both here. It's all going to be via Zoom.
Not here.
Not here this time, because we are
Okay.
getting our AV done. So all those people that love to come to finance, just join via Zoom.
All of them.
All of them.
All of
Probably
them.
done.
Yes.
Hundreds show up.
There's a heavy following. Yes, there is. From all over the world. No. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And then policy, Keith, are you going to do that one?
No, I am.
Oh, I'm sorry.
actually-
Thank you,
I
Debbie.
am actually going to cover for our
Thank you,
esteemed
Debbie.
committee chair.
Because when Keith runs it, it's an hour. When Debbie runs policy, it's under 20.
I'm still here.
Because
I can hear you.
I will note, for Keith's edification, that the policy committee is the best committee. Sorry,
It,
Miss-
it is. As I was getting ready to say
Okay.
that after your report.
Earlier
Deb,
this
thanks.
evening, we met for that amount of time and we covered everything.
Ah.
All the dates for 2026 were approved. We discussed policy 105.2, exemption from instruction. Policy 122, extracurricular activities. Policies 122.1, non-curriculum related, non-school sponsored, student initiated groups. Say that fast a lot of times. Policy 140.1, extracurricular participation by charter, cyber, charter, and private faith-based students. Policy 204, attendance. We reviewed policy 331 with no changes. We looked at policy 625, procurement cards, and policy 828, fraud. We have authorized and directed administration to post those policies with the revisions for public review and for the board action in January. Our next meeting is January 26th at 4:30, right here. And we will have the new updated audio.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Deb.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Deb.
No problem, Keith.
Okay, and we've had our public participation, so we are going to go to, and we actually have unfinished business this evening, and the discussion of the status of the Smithfield Gateway Project and TIF financing. James.
MCTI, we're over capacity. We're at. That's okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I was hoping.
No problem.
Waitlisted there.
if
Nope.
if you're talking about the campus for Northampton Community College, as far as I know, with conversations, it's significantly under populated at this point.
But their online courses are well
Yes,
attended.
but the campus itself. Yeah.
Okay,
So do I?
No, let me
Yeah,
give a
please,
broad
over to Chris.
and everybody else can chime in. So the reason this was put on the agenda is that it is our understanding that a sketch plan was submitted to Smithfield Township Planning Commission last week. And the gist of that sketch plan, and I wasn't at the meeting, but my understanding is that they are replacing some mixed-use development that was part of the original Smithfield Gateway project and some senior housing with proposed data centers and a power plant. I don't know nothing about what form of power plant.
It's
that might
not a
be.
power plant. So I learned a little bit more detail other
Sure.
than it's more like a step down transformer. So it brings the power to the location.
Makes sense. All right. And so obviously we don't have the sketch plan in front of us, but the reason why at this stage it is relevant to this board is that in 2018 and 2019, you approved a tax increment financing plan and a cooperation agreement with the developer and the County Redevelopment Authority. The gist of that tax increment financing is you agreed to contribute a portion of the increased assessment of that property as they developed it to the redevelopment authority. So the redevelopment authority takes out bonds. The point of those bonds is to construct infrastructure improvements, roadways, utilities, those sorts of things in and around the development area. You give a portion, not of the, so you don't lose money from where you were in 2018 and 2019. Just a portion of the increased assessment goes to paying those costs. In exchange for agreeing to make that plan, those payments, what the school board did was, one, approved a plan, and two, approved a cooperation agreement. The plan, as I said, described mixed use residential and commercial developments and senior housing. It had specific numbers of units, et cetera, et cetera. So you knew what was going to be developed in exchange for these infrastructure improvements you agreed to pay. Both the tax increment financing law and the cooperation agreement said any substantive change to the original plan needs to be approved by all of the taxing authorities that approved the original plan. That is you, that is Smithfield Township, and I believe it's the county as well. And so at some point, it is my belief that the redevelopment authority and the developers will have to come to this board to seek your approval for this change. They do not need to do that before they go to the township, so I don't think they're doing anything untoward by presenting a sketch plan to the planning commission, and a sketch plan at the planning commission is the absolute first step in any proposed change. There are many sketch plans that are presented to townships that never go anywhere. But I wanted to open up to this board. I think some options are to invite the redevelopment authority to come speak with this board about what's happening. I can send a letter over to them and ask them to come to an upcoming meeting. And
Do you know if we'll do the taxes on it? Are we basing it on what the proposal, like what hypothetically the mixed use properties will generate, hypothetically what the senior housing tax will generate? And is it that much, what's the difference proposed wise? I guess they may know this more than you would, but I'm assuming that what they're proposing is going to generate less tax dollars than the proposed original proposal.
so I don't know if that's true. I have no idea.
From
What?
the information I've gleaned, the data centers would actually bring a lot more money.
More money,
A lot.
but it's gonna
Yeah.
be on
But-
your environment.
Right, now, the other thing to know is that there actually is no data center company that's saying, we want to build
Oh.
here. It's the developer who's saying, here's an idea, I'm gonna throw it against the wall and see if it sticks, and
Interesting.
that's
Don't
the
want
other
to
information I
read
learned.
Before.
Yeah, so.
And over the years, they promised us Costco and everything else in the
Yeah.
under the moon, and it never happened.
Yeah, so
Along with the
Your,
trains.
your contributions were based on proposed assessments for a fully completed
right,
plan.
Mhm.
and he has to pay that.
Right.
Right.
And so I didn't look at the numbers because it's not really relevant to this discussion, but there is no possible way the school district is contributing what was originally contemplated because so little of that original plan has been developed.
Nothing except for the Wawa.
And
In the St.
Louis.
Louis, but that's still not much.
but that's right, it's a tiny fraction of the development that was originally.
Yeah, originally.
I think maybe just sending a letter to the redevelopment authority, just saying, hey, we're aware of this, and just keep us in the loop at this point, because there's really nothing specific that.
I think it'll say, we understand should there be a formal change that needs to be approved by this board.
Right.
So when you are, keep us in the loop and when you're ready, come see us.
Right.
That was good. Anything else on that topic?
I just have one statement, and not about this topic, but since it's unfinished business. One of the statements that was made by I think Bob Gress in the public's comments tonight was that damages at Smithfield were based on the roof damage, a poor roof. It wasn't, it was a leaky sprinkler head. So just for the record, I don't think it was a poor roof construction at Smithfield. So we've had our ups and downs with, sprinkler heads in our history too. So, which are not poor maintenance on at any point. So I just want to make that a reference point for the record.
Okay, thank you, Keith, for the clarification. Okay, then we're ready to progress on. Okay, we have our motions. Motion to adopt, need a motion to adopt the board policies that are listed.
So moved. Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A motion to authorize the field trips that are listed.
So moved. Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey,
Motion-
Mike, and I just want to interject, just to save the echo effect, if I don't vote yes or no, I'm voting yes. You know that, right? I'm just to
Yep.
save the echo effect.
That works for us, Keith. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
We need a motion to approve the implementation of the following intramurals and clubs, and they are listed there.
So moved.
Second,
I just have a question because what's a D&D club?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And somebody.
All right. Yeah, decided to know. Okay. All right. So,
Loop, Mr. Controller.
I'm out of the loop. Okay.
D&D's been a thing since I've been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still looking that up.
Don't say.
I don't get out much.
Thus, you should know D and D.
That's true too.
You're not just good.
Do not dis, I was wondering why we had a do not disturb club. That's
Quiet club.
very quiet club.
Not disturb
In the
club.
room.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be quiet now and ask all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. A motion to approve the recommendation to modify expulsion requirement, agreed upon expulsion, waiver of school board hearing and release agreement for the case listed in substantially the same form as presented at this meeting, contingent upon the receipt of any manifestation determinations indicating the infractions were not manifestations of a disability, subject to final review by the school district administration and legal counsel.
So move. Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the following memorandum of understandings, and they're listed there.
So move.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the notice of charges for employee number 11470.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the notice of charges for employee number 8464.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the termination of employee number 11811.
So move.
Questions? Did we have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the employment actions listed in accordance with the associated applicable policies, procedure, and contractual agreements.
So move. Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Kristen, if you want to, congratulations, our new, what's the title?
Director of Curriculum and Program.
Director of Curriculum
Can I
Program.
please just share with the board that last week, Ms. Long successfully
Yes.
defended her dissertation and became Dr. Long,
Yeah.
interviewed for this position.
All at the same time.
That was a week.
So we have our new curriculum department sitting in the back there. So congratulations, Dr. Long. And the only people I know who are going to be unhappy is Middle Smithfield right now. So, but congratulations. We look forward to you in that position.
Congratulations, Kristen.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sir.
A motion to approve the disabled veterans real property tax exemption as presented in accordance with policy.
So move.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A motion to approve items 1 and 2 in accordance with the recommendation from the Properties and Facilities Committee and Finance Committee, and they are listed there.
So move.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
May I interrupt for once? Yeah, I'm sorry if I interrupt. Where I'm trying to look on my computer as we do this, not with my book in front of me. Did we go over did we vote on 308 yet? Well, we passed that, didn't we? That was in one of those new business personnel, wasn't it?
Yes.
There's some point.
I needed to abstain on an item on that. Is it possible to amend that vote for my abstention?
Was that the approving the employment actions?
Yes, on page 5G, number 4 for new assignments, I need to abstain on that.
Okay.
The minutes will reflect you voted aye, but abstained on that particular item, right?
Yeah, it's G4, number 4, G number 4. I need to abstain.
I didn't realize it.
I'm sorry?
Yes, we got it, Keith.
We have
Hold
two.
on.
Okay.
We have another one.
And I have an abstention on there too. On the substitute custodians, line 2.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to do this computer thing. And it's not as good as a book.
No problem.
You're
Thank you.
absolutely right.
Better.
No problem.
Thank you.
Blameless.
Okay, so we've updated that motion with the 2 abstentions that come there. Okay, so now we're at a motion to approve the payment of bills and unaudited treasurer's report listed in the agenda for 25-26 fiscal year in accordance with section 687 of the Public School Code, recent directives from the Department of Education and interpretations made by the Auditor General.
So move.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. I'm joking.
Sorry,
Brandon.
9-0.
This is like the first.
First 9-0.
For like, yeah, 9-0 in what, 25 years. Motion to approve the payment of the following CHA invoices and applications for payment for services rendered in accordance with the recommendations from the Property Facilities Committee and Finance Committee, and they're listed.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the request to renew the already established student activity fund for the art club at High School South.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, questions? I'm looking like someone's gonna say something. Question? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the request to renew the already established special activity count for JT Lambert Intermediate Technology, Education, STEM, Robotic Club, and high school football.
So move.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to sell the following items in accordance with the recommendations from the Finance Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If anyone wants a good deal on a dental chair, please see us after the meeting.
2.
We have 2. Motion to approve the contracts listed for their specific services, rates, and effective dates, subject to the review and recommendations of the solicitor and approval of the administration regarding the terms and conditions of any final contract other than price or cost.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the renewal of the final site contract for the next 3 years, 26 through 28, as follows, in accordance with the recommendation from the Finance Committee.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any new business? Good. Enrollment information's been provided to the board and
Decrease in
Yep.
cyber charter at all this year, or is it? No. Okay.
We made good headway, but they're still leaving. And so we had a good impact this summer with the connections that we made, but we will continue to work at it.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause
Oh, can I-
for-
I'm sorry.
Get the numbers in my head and I was looking to see if anything changed and it didn't look like it, so I just wanted to ask.
Okay, Keith?
And then one question about the enrollment fee. I like how we're separating it now. Thank you for that. When you look at that second set of numbers, the 600 and some students, are those actually our students, correct? That extra, that, we list our enrollment by school, and then we list all the charter schools. That's still, those are still our students.
We're paying for them, yes.
Right, but what I'm saying is that when we say we have 7, when the number that the architects are using for their numbers, are they using both sets of numbers added up? Or are they using just our active on-site students for their numbers?
They are not using charter school students because.
Okay,
we
so
are
they
not-
did exception them out. Okay, they are exceptioning them
Yes,
out.
but we are
Okay,
not educating those children.
okay, that, I'm
Yep.
just clarifying how we're using them. That's
We are
great, thank you.
paying to educate them. We are not actually educating.
But we're not including them for our numbers.
Correct.
But even though should we, because they could come back at one point.
No, because we're not educating them.
They're not here.
Okay,
And
Okay,
can I
good point.
just-
Thank you, Keith.
thank you.
Anyone else
Hold
have
on,
any
Debbie has a
comments?
question.
I'm
I
sorry, Debbie.
just wanted to note 2 things that I think are of importance. One is that one of our North Campus students passed her EMT on her first try, Julia DiPaolo. And the newest paramedic we have in this area is Jonathan Kulik Cummings.
Very good.
So there we go. We're
Excellent.
very proud of both of them.
Thank you for sharing the good news. Okay, and we need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we thank you to